So last Friday, in a post at 2 a.m. on Truth Social, Donald Trump actually encouraged what many are considering to be a rebellion by red states against the federal government of the United States. And he did so by telling all of these red states, and I think at this point there's like 24 of them, so about half the country, he encouraged them to send their National Guard down to the state of Texas to prevent Texas from having to let the feds come in to snip the razor wire that the Supreme Court earlier last week had ruled had to come down. So Trump openly said, use your state militaries to fight back against the federal government. Because, in Trump's words, Biden's not doing anything about the immigration problem. And at the same time that Trump is telling states to use their military to fight back against the federal government, he has also been encouraging Republicans in Congress to not vote on a border deal to help secure our southern border. Republicans in the House and Senate are now actively working against any kind of border security because, as Trump told audiences this weekend, doing so would help President Biden. Now, the immigration problem, if you want to call it that, has become the number one issue on voters' minds this year. And it's become the number one issue because the media hammers it and makes everybody think that we're being invaded. We are not being invaded. It's idiotic to use those words. But voters buy into it. The media has done a poor job of framing the issue. It is what it is. And Trump is campaigning on it, just like he did in 2016. But in order to successfully campaign on it, just like these other Republicans, he has to make sure there's no solution to it. See, Biden came out Monday and he actually said, if we pass this border deal, I'll shut the border down today. I'll sign the legislation and shut the border down. Which, by the way, is what Donald Trump is promising to do if he gets back into the White House. But if Biden does it before him, if Biden stops this so-called problem, then what does Trump have? What's he going to campaign on? What are all these other Republicans in Congress going to campaign on? The answer is nothing. So Trump is telling these people that you can't solve the problem. You have to keep the problem. You have to let it continue to exist, or else I'm finished because Biden gets a big victory on the number one issue to voters. Do y'all realize for a second how sick that is? Like, why is this not the top story on every single media outlet in this country? Trump is telling them, use your governments to fight back against the federal government because they're not doing anything on immigration. And the government's over here like, actually, we're trying to do something on immigration, but you're telling people behind the scenes to not let us do it. This is madness. This is absolute, utter madness. All 100% being orchestrated by Donald Trump, because he is pulling the strings on his little puppets that he's got in the House and Senate. Even Mitch McConnell is confused about what to do. He doesn't want to not have a deal. He doesn't care. But his hands are now tied. In fact, Republican Senator James Lankford, who actually supports the immigration deal in the Senate, his state of Oklahoma has now voted to censure him for supporting the legislation. My God, like, folks, this is the craziest thing that I have seen in many years in American politics. Republicans are telling us we have a problem. Congress says, well, we have a solution. Biden says we have a solution. Then those same Republicans tell, no, we can't have that solution because then we have nothing to campaign on. And if the Democrats do not get out there and make this the message, then they're going to lose this year because Republicans have already captured this narrative. And most of the public does not understand that Republicans are the ones keeping the border in a state of so-called crisis because they think it helps them politically. Ring of Fire is just a few subscribers short of hitting that 1 million subscriber milestone. So if you're not already subscribed, please go ahead and do so and stay up to date with all of the latest from Ring of Fire.